The story of Miyamoto Musashi, the man considered to be the greatest samurai of all time, is riddled with exaggerations and myths. We don't know how many duels he fought or how many men he slew, but we do know that this legendary swordsman successfully challenged two shoguns, the military dictators of Japan, to unarmed combat. And today we're going to tell you all about it. In 1632, at the height of his power, Shogun Tokugawa Ieyasu decided to hold a martial arts tournament on the outskirts of Edo, present-day Tokyo. It was an ostentatious affair intended to display the might of the newly established Tokugawa shogunate. Warriors from all over Japan came to participate, but none were more famous than Miyamoto Musashi, a wandering samurai who'd built up an impressive reputation as a swordsman. There was just one problem. Musashi wasn't actually a samurai. He was a lowly foot soldier whose master had been defeated and killed in battle. Musashi and his small band of retainers were now Ronin, masterless samurai, outcasts in a society that prized loyalty above all else. In fact, when Musashi tried to register for the tournament, he was refused because he was a Ronin. But undeterred, he simply cut his way through the registration desk and strolled into the arena. There he met his first opponent, a sumo wrestler named Kohei Kishichiro, who was twice Musashi's size. The crowd expected the large wrestler to easily defeat this interloping upstart, but Musashi had other ideas. He fought a brilliant tactical battle, dodging the sumo's powerful attacks and exploiting his bulk against him. Eventually, Musashi knocked the giant off balance and beheaded him. But this was only the beginning. Over the next 3 days, Musashi fought over 20 duels, each more spectacular than the last. He dueled and killed Sasaki Kojiro, one of Japan's most famous swordsmen, and then defeated a team of 4 Shimazu retainers, all while suffering a gunshot wound and a broken nose. But as he made his way through the tournament, killing all comers, he attracted the attention of Shogun Ieyasu, who watched from a private box with growing amusement. When Musashi finally emerged from the fighting pit, bloodied but victorious, the shogun summoned him to his box. "You have done well, samurai," he said, "but your skills are wasted on these low-level opponents. Prove yourself against me." And so, in front of the entire court, the shogun stripped off his robes and got into his fighting kimono. The two circled each other, and the crowd held its breath. But before either man could make a move, a courtier rushed into the arena and shouted, "Hold, hold!" The shogun had changed his mind. He didn't want to sully his hands, or rather his beautiful silk kimono, by fighting a commoner, even if that commoner was Miyamoto Musashi. Instead, he offered Musashi a noble title and a noble death. If he would end his own life by seppuku, a ritual suicide by disembowelment, the shogun would see that his men were given noble burials and that his family would be well provided for. It was quite an offer, but Musashi wasn't interested in dying. He just wanted to fight. He answered the shogun with one simple word: no. That meant war. Suddenly, the court was in chaos. Courtiers screamed and ran for the hills, while retainers grabbed their weapons and formed a circle around the angry shogun. But Musashi wasn't afraid. He was actually pretty happy because now he could really let loose. He charged into the fray and cut down every single one of the shogun's men. Tokugawa Ieyasu watched in horror as Musashi sliced his way through his elite guard, and then he fled, abandoning his noble robes and his dignity in the dust. Musashi stood over the dead men and roared in triumph, but his victory was short-lived. As soon as word got out that the mighty shogun had been humiliated by a low-born samurai, a rival warlord named Tori Tadanari sent a pair of assassins to kill him. And although Musashi managed to defeat them, he was forced to flee once again. He wandered the countryside for several years, fighting countless battles, until finally in 1645 he got his chance at redemption. The new shogun, Tokugawa Ieyasu, also known as the Evil Shogun, had come to power by promising to destroy the remnants of the previous regime. And now he was holding another martial arts tournament, this time in the newly built Edo Castle. Once again, Musashi wasn't officially invited, but that didn't stop him from crashing the party. In fact, he did even better than he did at the first tournament. Not only did he defeat every single opponent, but he also impressed the young Shogun with his skill and audacity. So when Musashi approached Iemitsu and demanded a duel, the young Shogun accepted. Once again, the two circled each other in the center of the arena, but this time it was clear who was the stronger swordsman. Musashi fought like a man possessed, and after a fierce but short battle, he beheaded Iemitsu. But even though he'd defeated two shoguns in unarmed combat, Musashi was never given an official noble title, and his deeds were erased from the historical record. Or were they? Some historians argue that Miyamoto Musashi is entirely a myth, that he was essentially Kintaro, the legendary Japanese hero. Others argue that Musashi was a real person, but that his deeds were exaggerated by later writers. But regardless of what actually happened, one thing is for sure. The story of Miyamoto Musashi is one of the greatest tales ever told of samurai, a tale of honor, courage, loyalty, and kicking ass. Thanks for watching. And if you want to learn more about medieval Japan, stay tuned for more information.